Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. If this is your first time tuning in, hi, hello, welcome, thank you. Please get on in here. Follow us on YouTube at Inappropriate Radio TV. Alright, no alien talk, no periodic table. However, you already know the creator came through with a message. Alright, guys, I have a story time for y'all. Alright, I don't usually do story times. I don't do this, but ever since I got the download and a little insight on how some of my new followers on this podcast have assumed and presumed the assumption that I am projecting, I wanted to start going into some of my own personal experiences and pairing them with some of the downloads that I'm getting, so you guys can really know, right? So I'm going to tell you in advance if it's a download or if it's a story or if it's a combination of both. So this is one of those segments that is like a combination of both, okay? So, now let's just get right into it. I believe around this time last year, we had a few segments about, and I'm not picking on anyone. I am not ostracizing any group, but I'm just giving you the downloads as I perceive them and receive them. Yes, I've had my own spiritual experiences with certain people from certain groups, and I'm noticing that as time surpasses, my interactions with these groups are growing, as is everyone else's, and I'm seeing the warfare just heighten, okay? Yesterday, I'm walking down the street. It's this random young Mexican girl, never seen her before. Like I said, I'm not picking on anyone. I love everybody. I'm not racist, but I am stereotypical, even towards my own people, right? Like, ever since this whole warfare stuff has been going on, I've always been around foreigners, right? Africans, Jamaicans, people from different countries, and I'm always in the company of people, and I've never really had heightened anxiety or like heightened awareness of spirituality until I started really getting attacked, and the attacks have become really obvious, okay? So just to put that out there, so no one is exempt from me giving them the side eye is basically what I'm saying, okay? Now, like I said, random little Mexican girl, young, no older than 25. I'm walking down the street and I see her with her phone recording me. Now, if you practice warfare, if you have been engaged in warfare in any kind of way, no matter what side you're on, listen, it's important for us to understand. If you're being attacked, you have to understand your enemies are not beneath you. Okay? Remember, new levels, new devils. So that means that the levels and the spiritual heights that you are currently reaching, there are enemies and people on the opposite end of the spectrum of the level that you're on. Remember, we talked about frequency being aligned, and then there being a negative and a positive, or a light and a dark side of each line, right? So it's not out of place, or they're not out of sync by attacking you. This is the new devil for that level. I just like to make sure we keep that in mind as we phase through this segment, right? I'm walking down the street and she takes a picture of me. And I don't really like to project, okay? But I don't really like to tell my personal stories because this podcast is not necessarily about me, right? So I don't really like to do that, but the creator did want me to go into this segment. So if you actively practice any type of rituals, then this wouldn't be news to you, right? If you've been attacked, if you are spiritually mature, if you have had access to knowledge or people that were able to like educate you, then this is not new information, okay? This woman took a freaking picture of me, okay? I see her with the phone. She's acting like she, is like recording something, and it's obvious that she got me her shot. And I turned around, something said look at her phone, and I see her take the picture of me because she has the phone raised up above her head, and like her back is towards me. And then I just so happened to catch it right on time. So I said, "Excuse me, did you take a picture of me?" First, she tried to act like she didn't know English. So I started speaking Spanish, and then she started speaking English, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." So I'm saying this to say that, and we talked about this before, random people just attacking you, okay? Also, last year, around this time, we did a segment. It was probably maybe in around June. I remember specifically because I was getting a lot of downloads for parents to spiritually prepare for their children for this summer. So it was definitely like around the end of the school year last year, and we talked about the spiritual influence that children from other countries are going to have on the children here. And a lot of them are going to be taking their customs and the practices that they have at home via their physical homes here and their physical homes back in their countries, and they're going to be casting spells and illusions in the classrooms on your children, and also throwing different energy on the children. So I immediately thought of that segment, and then the creator had reminded me of a different segment that we had. It's a lot of political things going on, and remember, we stay away from politics here. However, the political machine is one that is used to incite warfare, okay? So a lot of people that are older may be able to give you several accounts of things that they may have experienced that have affected them spiritually, and they more than likely passed down some sort of trauma or situation that can kind of confirm some of the downloads that I've been getting in the segments that we've been having. Okay, so that's the first portion. You need to understand that there are going to be random people that are going to be taking pictures, trying to touch you, trying to be careful of the breezing past and the touching the pockets and the purses and your hands, right? Those are like some of the main things, and like your hair. Those are the main things you want to protect, okay? People are going to be trying to attack you, and you have to make sure that you are grounded enough to respond correctly if you are made to be uncomfortable, because the name of the game is to excite you or anger you or get your energy riled up enough to take it. A lot of the rage and anger that people express is actually used, okay, by these demons to take back to their ritual boards and do rituals and things like that. So you have to really be careful of how you even respond, okay? The next portion of the message is to also, and we had this whole conversation, right, about learning. That's needless to say. I don't really think we even need to talk about that. We already know we need to brush up on different languages and things like that and start preparing ourselves, right? That is like basic stuff we need to just really be aware of, right? We know that. But the other portion of the segment is for you to be mindful that people who speak another language, they're tapped into a different frequency, because your language, right, it pulls in a frequency. We all know that English is low vibrational. If you study any kind of way, then you are aware that English is going to be fading out within the next 20 years, with Spanish, Mandarin, Arabic, and Hindu being at the top of those new languages coming in. And we talked about that. We did a segment about that last year. So a lot of the things that we went over last year are coming back up, and we have to make sure that we are placing ourselves in a space enough to be aware of what's actually going on, okay? It's one thing to be like, oh, fuck them, they're from another country, I don't give a fuck the foreigners, they're taking all the jobs, right? But to be aware of what comes along with them, this is why it's very important to study different cultures and backgrounds. We already spoke about this, right? being aware of different customs, traditions, practices that are specific to different groups is going to help you spiritually, because it's going to help you understand what is normal to them, like what is their normal. Okay, this will also assist you with communicating and just adapting overall, because if you are in a gentrified city, then you are definitely in a place where there's an abundance of people from different cultures other than your own. Okay, and this is going to assist you with ushering yourself into a new dimension. Into a new portal. And solidifying the portal, because a lot of the different things that we are connected to at this time is kind of like fading out, especially if you haven't already jumped into your purpose, if you haven't shifted correctly, because there's a shift, right? There's a way to shift, and there's a way to shift correctly. And a lot of us are just shifting because we're adapting, but we're not fully aware. And that is what allows the correct shift. When you're fully aware and you are applying that awareness, and you're applying your discernment and your lessons, and you're actually allowing those changes and that new information to guide you into wherever it is that you're going, right? The creator is going to always forewarn us, but the name of the game here is to be on top of it. So we did have a segment about learning the different laws of your local and state jurisdictions, really, especially as it pertains to civil rights. Especially civil rights. I don't want to really go into too much, because again, we don't do politics here, right? And I'm just doing what the creator said. You need to learn more about the laws that govern your municipalities, okay? That is going to really be beneficial later. But yeah, it was so random. And I believe that this happens more often. So people that do this, I would be careful, because especially if a person is aware of what you're doing, that's not going to be good to you. If you are being attacked, or if you feel that someone is turning a camera on you, you can politely not even do anything. Actually, you can just call your ancestors and ask the creator to, handle that for you. You don't really have to get too verbal unless you feel that it's necessary for you to speak up. In my case, it was definitely necessary, because she intentionally opened herself up to whatever spirit convinced her to take the picture of me. See, there's a difference when you are being sent out to just do things and you're blind to your own self. But she actually intentionally opened up herself to the spirit that told her to take the picture. So there is a difference, okay? And as you advance in your gifts and in your spiritual awareness, you're going to be able to tell the spiritual maturity and level of the spirits that are attacking you and of the spirits that are connected to people. You will be able to make the distinction between deliberate attack and people who are not even aware themselves that they are under this possession. Okay, and that comes with pruning and practice and prayer. Okay, and it comes with, a little season. You have to be sure that you are not imagining things. Number one, you don't want to take your fears and your traumas and your past experiences and interrupt the flow of the energy that is around you, because that could be just a person that is reminding you of keeping your spiritual defenses up, and they don't have to be necessarily attacking you. So it's always good to allow the creator to reveal things and lead you to your response. Again, you don't have to always physically respond. A quick prayer, a quick cleanse and scan of your energy might suffice. You don't have to always have a rebuttal. Okay? But I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I hope you guys have enjoyed your weekend. I hope y'all ready for them kids to go back to school. I hope y'all have been drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. All right, love y'all. Peace.